And sometimes being silent is being logical because you're taking time to think about what you're going to say before you say it. Welcome to Kalam the Voice Podcast. I'm your host, Anel, and here we talk about all things healing, growing, and evolving in full transparency, and we are on episode 13. Is it a secret that, I'm always going to find it's a surprise? Because, yeah, the weeks have been going by so fast ever since I started this because, wow, Tuesday comes very, 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 very fast for me now. On this episode, we're going to be talking about silence and how it's your superpower. Truly, whether you're a woman or a man, it is your superpower. But anyway, let's get into the episode. In regards to myself, I have a really capability of using my silence as my superpower because I understand that people tend to hear me best when I stop talking. Okay? And I don't do it in a manipulative way. That's not what this is. I just really have learned to understand that people literally do hear you best when you just stop talking. Sometimes you don't need to go back and forth because people, number one, people are well aware of what they're doing and how they're doing it. That's number one. Number two, sometimes it doesn't matter how much I'm talking or explaining something. You're not going to understand what I'm saying if I just stop explaining, if I just stop talking. So that's why I really tend to go and be silent about certain things, especially if we've had a conversation about such matter. And you decided to go against what I said, and you thought I was kidding, you thought I was playing when I said that I really do stop talking to people. And I know I sound sarcastic right now, okay? Not too much. And it may seem very avoidant, but I'm someone who communicates. And if you thought that I was kidding when I said that I will go mute, because once I have nothing else to say, that's it. There's no other type of conversation I want to have. I do not want to rekindle things because we've already had this conversation, most likely. Knowing me, I've brought it up. I will bring things up. I am somebody who obviously has uncomfortable conversations. So that is my first point for today. People tend to hear you best when you stop talking. Have you ever noticed that once you stop caring about certain things or stop repeating yourself, people are more inclined to be listening to you? But when you're going on and on about the same thing, people are like, all right, yeah, okay, all right. Okay, I heard you, okay. Silence usually bothers people because they can't come to an agreement as to what you're thinking and what you're about to do next. When you talk too much, you're pretty predictable. If, for example, right, let's say your mom comes home every single day. This is not my mom, but if you know that if you do something bad and you know that your mom is just gonna whip you or yell at you, you're less likely to care to do something bad again because you know that all she's gonna do is yell and scream or whip you, and you just rather take that and just do whatever you want. It's the same thing in other situations. If people know exactly what you're going to do, they know how to manipulate it into doing it better next time so that you won't find out. But if you're unpredictable, you're walking on eggshells. No, that's not what I said. That's not what I meant to say. But if you're unpredictable, they're more likely to walk on eggshells because they don't know what you're going to do or what you're going to say. And that's actually what you want. You do want somebody to tread lightly around you because in a way that shows that they respect you in a way. Listen, if that's not something that you really agree with, I do not play when it comes to my respect. You're not about to play in my face. You're not about to do what you want to do. You're going to respect me. If not, you're gone. You're done. That's it and that's all. Okay? So When you're tired of telling somebody the same thing over and over again, just be quiet. It's equivalent to the teacher saying, I'll sit here, I'll wait, I did this already. You're more likely to pay attention because the silence is loud. Also, ladies, when it comes to dating, stop barking and telling these men and going off and saying, yeah, like you're going off for no reason. You're gonna be like every other woman. You're gonna be like every other woman. He's expecting you to go off like that. Sometimes men do things to really test you, to really see if you're gonna go off. And if all you say is, okay, he's gonna be going crazy. He's gonna be like, okay, wait, you're not gonna like argue with me? You're not gonna go back and forth with me? What is wrong with you? Like, they're gonna think there's something wrong with you. Again, I'm not saying it to sound manipulative. That is not the goal here. The goal here is to stay in your feminine energy. Okay? When you're going off and doing all that rah-rah, yeah, that's masculine energy. You're a woman. Be a lady. We can get there, but we can't get there every single time. Because the time that you really want to go off and prove your point, it's not going to be valid because you say, oh my gosh, she's always complaining, she's always yelling, whatever, she'll get over it. And he's not going to take it serious. So, stop doing all that and just stay quiet when you have repeatedly said the same thing. Okay? Yeah. Is this still recording? Hold on. 1 second. Child, look. I don't got no time. I have zero time to have these errors, okay? Moving forward to something that I really had to learn the hard way. And that is being silent allows you to listen better. In almost every aspect in life. Whether that's in a relationship, whether that's with yourself, whether that's with God, whatever you believe in. You need to know how to listen. If not, you're not going to know how to move. You're always going to be impulsive. You're always going to move out of emotion because you're not listening. And the only way you can listen is by being what? Silent. Yeah. That's the only way you can listen to your greatest ability because you are actively listening. When it comes to relationships, right? A lot of the times in arguments, whether that's platonic or romantic, a lot of the times, people are arguing about things because the other person is not listening or comprehending what that person is trying to get across. And that's why the frustration happens because a lot of the times you're like, you're not listening to me. Like, okay, but you're not listening to me. Or you're not even letting me finish because you want to get your point across and that person wants to get their point across. And it's just, it gets ugly, it gets messy, but really it's because you're not taking the time to listen. Sometimes somebody is listening more than the other until that other person who's listening never wants to listen again because you don't listen to me, so why should I listen to you? And again, how can we do that? By being silent. You need to be quiet and respond to understand and not to just say something. It is impossible to listen if you're talking, bro. Now, when it comes to anything regarding spirituality and connecting to a higher power, I'm not gonna lie. In order to gain guidance, you need to be quiet. Because guess what? God is always talking. Always. We're just not listening and paying attention. Now, he may tell you to do one thing, right? And you might have thought of it like, yeah, maybe I should do that. And you don't do it because you feel like your way is better, which is another conversation. But then you realize and say, let me do it how God wants me to do it. And then you see how it's effortless. And you're like, maybe I should have listened the first time. Maybe if I was quiet enough to really get out of my own way and stop listening to myself, maybe this would have never been that hard. And this would have taken way less time and effort had I shut up and listened. Why? Because in silence is just the way that you seek things. That's why meditation is a thing. That's why when people are performing, silence is needed because you need to have your undivided attention, but you need to be quiet. It's hard. I'm not even going to sit here and tell you it's not hard. It's absolutely hard to be quiet. I'm a yapper, as we can tell and hear, okay? I am a yapper. I actually don't know when to turn it off sometimes. Now, I'm not like this every day, but for the most part, I speak a lot. And although I have a lot of things to say, sometimes I have so much to say that I'm quiet. You ever thought of that? Yeah? Like, I have so much to say sometimes that I'm quiet. It's going to be evident that you're making a lot of mistakes. Not that it's wrong to make mistakes, but you're going to make a lot of silly mistakes if you don't be quiet. I keep saying this because it's like, it's really that simple. It's just be quiet. You wanting the urge to say something all the time is you wanting to be in control. And you thinking that if you say the right things and that you need to some way prove a point of somehow by speaking, you already losing. You already taking that out. My grandmother has always told me to not say everything that comes to my tongue, because in the heat of the moment, you may say something that you could never take back. Think about it. There's things that you think about daily that people have told you that you're like, dang, I still think about when they told me that. You may not remember their names. You may not remember where you was or all the full details, but you never forget what some people tell you, ever in life. I remember things that people told me when I was 8, 7. That to this day, I remember exactly what they said, the cadence in their voices, everything. I remember. That's why also being quiet is a good thing, because sometimes you can say things that you don't mean when you're angry, when you're being emotional. Not that being emotional is bad. I don't know why, but like ever since I started recording more and getting more attention on the internet, I've been way more careful how I say things, because people like to misinterpret what I'm saying. Like if I say, for example, I just said, you're being too emotional. Oh, some people can't be emotional. And it's just like, bro, that's not what I said. I'm just saying in certain situations, you cannot be emotional because it's going to drive you crazy. Sometimes you need to look at things in a logical perspective. And sometimes being silent is being logical, because you're taking time to think about what you're going to say before you say it. You may not want to offend people or try to work to take back what you said. And it's like, no matter how many I'm sorry's you give, nothing you can say is going to make that person feel any different, because you said it already. It can't be undone. So in the moments where you're angry, frustrated, or just feeling a very low vibrational energy, just be quiet. Your best bet is to be quiet. I don't care if you sliding down the wall, crashing out, crying, creaking, and screaming, okay? You stay quiet until you collect yourself. I've learned to be silent through my father, because my dad is a man that doesn't say too many words. And his silence has taught me a lot in life. It's taught me to be patient. It's taught me to collect myself when needed. It's taught me that everything doesn't need a reaction. And I wasn't even going to talk about this today, but it's actually good that it came up, because although he is a man who's masculine, it's taught me that you don't need to say things all the time to get your point across. You don't. Is it important to sometimes? Yes, so people can know that you know how to communicate. However, sometimes all that is not needed. Sometimes the silence is so loud that you don't even have to say anything. Sometimes words is just not, it's going to be way more powerful than you can ever say. The act of being silent, I'm telling you. But also, I just don't feel like doing all that. Like, don't get me wrong, I can and have the ability to go off, okay? Let's not get it twisted. I can take it there. However, I don't need to be repetitive and tell people exactly what I said the first time. People may not understand and hear you exactly, or not even exactly. People may not remember every little detail you said, but the principle of what you said, they remember, bro. So why should I go ahead and repeat exactly what I just told you when you get it? You know, because when we had the conversation, you said, "Oh, I understand that." You did, and if you had questions, you've asked me. When it comes to a situation where this topic is now coming up again, I don't need to go back and forth with you. I'm going to address the issue, and after that, I'm going to leave you with your thoughts, because we've had a conversation about this, and we're not going to act like I'm going to be repetitive and tell you exactly what you did when you know you did. So, evidently, my silence is going to teach you to stop playing around and take people serious, that when they say something the first time, it's actually very real and they're very serious about it. I don't know what type of people you come across, but I don't play that. I don't play. I run a tight ship. Okay? I have a very strict program. I am so understanding. I understand life. I will sit here and talk to you for hours. I get it. But when you put me in a predicament where you think what I said was like almost a joke, it's a slap to the face to me, and it's almost playing with my intelligence, because I said that. Now I have to be quiet to teach you a little lesson about respect and about how when people say things, they mean it. That's it, and that's all. Take it or leave it. If you can't run with the program, bye. Like, I ain't going for none of that. Okay? Ciao. On to today's Boundary Buddies tip, and if you don't know, it's where I give unsolicited advice, and you can take it or leave it. Okay? I'm here to tell you the truth. The truth and nothing but the truth. But today's Boundary Buddies tip is, don't use silence as a source of manipulation. Use it as strength. Just because somebody is louder than you or is getting their point across because they're talking, that doesn't mean that this is a weakness. There's strength in just being silent. There really is. And as somebody who knows how to argue real good and cuss real good, I can tell you that I've gotten through people by being more quiet. Because, again, people can't determine who you are if you're quiet. They can't determine what's going to be your next move if you're quiet. There's so many people that are uncomfortable with silence. Like, they can't drive in a quiet car. When they cleaning or cooking, they need music, and they need so much things, because silence gets you to the answer, bro. The only way you find the root to things is by being quiet, and there's strength in that. So when I say silence is your strength and not to be used as manipulation, is because it's not. This is like a really simple topic, but it's like, I think I need to like explain that, because it's true. You don't always have to prove your point all the time. You don't have to elaborate all the time. It's just not necessary in certain situations, because ultimately people tend to hear you best when you stop talking. But anyway, that's it, and that is all for today's episode. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope you guys really listened to what I said. And really, ladies, if you're listening or watching, tap into your feminine energy. Feminine energy is very calm. We still can take it there. That's not what we're saying. But ultimately, being feminine means being calm, cool, and collected, and choosing when to react. Not always thinking that you need to prove a point with everything, because you don't. That is it for today's episode. I hope you guys enjoyed. Make sure that you like, comment, share, and subscribe. Make sure that you turn on your post notifications so you get notified every time I upload a new video. But most importantly, make sure you're doing it for yourself every single day. Bye. I be doing that, and I don't even kiss people in real life. Like, I'm not even a person in real life. What am I doing?